everybody. Welcome back to Unbroken Arrows podcast. As always, I'm Catherine.
And I'm Greg. And today's episode is episode number 39. This is going to be the final episode of season 1.
Oh, yeah.
And even though it's going to be labeled as episode 39, with the bonus episodes that we produced and published at Pheasant Fest, it's actually going to be
51.
39 plus 12
51.
is 51.
Good math.
How could I be so far off on my math?
No kidding.
Or am I off on the other episodes? Maybe this is 37.
I don't know what episode number this is. I
think we better fact check it. I think it is actually. I think I did it wrong. I think it's 30.
This is episode 37.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
you wrote the wrong episode.
I did. Well, folks, we're off to a good start for our final episode.
Welcome back to the final episode, guys.
We've got our math figured out, and it is episode 37. So that means with the 12 bonus, 49.
Yeah.
Yep. Nearly 50 episodes. And I want to start the show with just a few statistics, Catherine, and this is, I get used to a look that Catherine gives from time to time when we record podcast episodes. I call it her glazed eye look. And it's usually something science-y or something along those lines. But since I'm doing statistics, I guess maybe she'll be interested in this, because this is kind of a tribute to us, to be quite honest.
For sticking with it.
So according to Podcast Page, on the internet, Podcast Page, I don't know if it's .com or not. Anyway, Podcast Page, they estimate, according to their sources, somewhere between 3.2 million and 4.3 million podcasts.
That's a big range.
That's a huge range. But they kind of give an explanation as to why those statistics differ so much, and it might be because one index has a different set of parameters to count a podcast and those kinds of things. But anyway, so between 3.2 million and 4.3 million podcasts, and it says 44% of the podcasts have less than 3 episodes. And only 720,000 podcasts have more than 10 episodes. And then they say that of those 720,000 podcasts, only 156,000 are releasing weekly episodes. So
we are one of 156,000.
Yeah. And that kind of whittles that 4.3 million down quite a bit, doesn't it? But, our first podcast was published December 21st, 2023.
It feels like such a long time ago.
It really does.
I'm getting work emails, guys. Sorry. Let me just mute that.
One of the things that we kind of planned on talking about were some of the things that we learned as we went on, and that's one of them was to put your phones on Do Not Disturb.
Silent all the things.
Yeah, it's kind of tough. But anyway, our first podcast was published in December 21st. And from then on, it's been weekly.
Except for like once.
Well,
we missed,
it was,
I think, 1 week.
No, I don't know if we missed 1 week or you just, that was when you were still in charge of editing and publishing. And I think we missed a Thursday upload by a day, maybe.
No, I'm pretty sure that we were like, we've got nothing to do this week. And it was one of those weeks that we were both gone for like multiple days on end. Okay. And we were like, well, maybe we just switch to doing every other week. And then we missed the week and we were like, no, we need to keep doing every week. See, Greg's over here trying to blame me.
No, well.
Maybe not. Maybe I did miss a week. No. It might have been me and I made up this whole situation.
No,
so
I think you're right now that we talk. Now you're saying that because I can remember that conversation about
I did schedule one for 5 p.m. instead of one for 5 a.m.
Yeah, that's true.
I got woken up at like 6 o'clock and Greg was like, there's no podcast. It's like, what? I scheduled it.
It happens. We work through some of those kinds of things. But in just reflecting over the, what was it, 9 months. This is the 8th month, and we started in December. So 9 months. I think that we probably should give a thank you, a shout out, whatever the case is, because I think one of our first guests was maybe one that influenced us the most, that I'm sure he isn't aware of it, but Bob St. Pierre of Pheasants Forever. And I became familiar with Bob St. Pierre through a outdoor program that he co-hosts on KFAN out of the radio station out of Minneapolis, St. Paul. He agreed to be a guest for us. And then a few days after we recorded, he got in contact with us and suggested for us to take our podcast to the Pheasant Fest and Quail Classic, which was being hosted in Sioux Falls this year. I guess it was in March. And I don't know about you, but I really didn't know what to expect.
Mm-mm.
There was a little bit of nerviness there in terms of, are we going to learn something, do something, or make complete fools out of ourselves? Or there's always those types of things. But we met a lot of people. Those conversations that we had were all positive. They supported what we were doing, encouraged us to continue. The guests that we had on those bonus episodes, they were varied, from authors to people that frequent other podcasts to people that worked for different companies that had booths at Pheasant Fest and Quail Classic. So what are your thoughts about that? First off, let me say thank you, Bob. I think you had a very big influence on us moving forward and doing the things that we're doing right now. So anyway, your perspective of that weekend.
Yeah. Well, I didn't get to be at the podcast booth very much, which we already kind of talked about, just
Right.
because I was working for Shields. But the episodes that you guys got to record were great and had a lot of information. And even like just being at the Shields booth, like everyone just wanted to talk and
Right.
was very friendly. And I do think it gave us some encouragement to keep going, for sure, just from the feedback, like you said, that we got, and how supportive everyone was.
Absolutely. It was a great experience from my perspective, and I think I can speak on behalf of you and Trey as well.
Mm-hmm.
It going in not knowing what to expect at all, and coming out of there with just a really overall good feeling about the Unbroken Arrows podcast, what we were doing and why. So we decided that this will be the final episode of season 1. And as I guess I didn't really discuss this too much with you, but as I was thinking about where do we end? Do we go all the way to December, or do we arbitrarily come up with a different time frame? But September 1st is, in many states, that's the opening of squirrel season.
Squirrel season.
Many. But
Wait, pause. Does South Dakota have a squirrel season?
Yeah, and it opens September 1st.
Really? When does it close?
January 31st or February.
Oh, so it's all the way through.
Yeah.
Dear, perfect. That's when I shoot my squirrels.
Okay. Well, now that you know that you're legally doing that, right? So, but dove, many states. Actually, I think there's more states that have squirrel starting September 1st, because I know some states have dove like in the 15th, around the 15th. Yeah. Some states, South Dakota does archery, deer hunting starting September 1st. Not everybody does that, but I think Nebraska's is September 1st as well. But squirrel, there's a lot of states. I did a lot of research on this, and there's many more states that have squirrel season starting September 1st. So anyway, that's why I chose September 1st will be the week of the beginning of season 2. It sounds like
there we go.
Sounds like a good time to stop one and start over, and
go through hunting season.
Yep.
I like it.
So the official kickoff then to the next season will be Thursday,
No, fifth.
Fifth. Okay, there we go. So what was your favorite episode?
Wait, pause.
Wait.
Going back to the squirrel.
Mhm.
Have you ever ate squirrel?
Oh, yeah.
How do you cook it?
Well, many people do the crock pot because it's...
Like just the whole squirrel in the crock pot?
Yes.
Fur and all?
No. Not that I know of. No, not the fur and all.
You like have to gut it somehow? Like a chicken?
You gut it and you skin it. And that's not necessarily an easy task. Skinning a squirrel is tough.
Interesting. And then you just throw it in a crock pot and hope that the meat melts off of it.
Well, the thing is, now I'm going squirrel hunting this year.
Oh, you are?
Yes, I am.
Good to
And
know.
I have scouted out some areas actually, and I'm going to, some of the same places of public land that Nate gave me some ideas to go deer hunting. What are you looking for?
I need chapstick.
You need chapstick.
It's bugging me. I've got some on my counter over here. Driving me nuts. I can feel my chapped lips.
This might get edited out, maybe not.
All right, we're back. We're in business. You need to stop leaning back on your chair because you just keep squeaking and squeaking.
Yeah, I like to relax. Squirrel hunting. Speaking of which, that was a squirrel moment. This year, I am going to focus on the hind quarters of the squirrel. And
I imagine it's a lot like frog. I don't know why, but like to me, squirrel and frog is similar.
I don't think they have anything in common as far as cleaning or taste or preparing anything.
It's like frog legs and squirrel legs.
No. The reason why
sorry.
is the crock pot method is you cook it all day and the meat does fall off the bones. But then you also have all of those small bones that you basically have to pick through, strain it out somehow because, every little vertebrae is going to be in there. And, but a lot of people do that. And crockpot squirrel is right up there as a top game animal for a lot of people. I've got like
the list of things I need to eat now. Like Nate always says that snapping turtle's good.
And it is.
We found his like snapping turtle line the other day and it was like something like stupid pound test. I was like, what do you even use this for? And he's like, snapping turtles, don't get rid of it. I was like, okay.
Gar. He keeps talking about gar.
I say I gotta try gar because he talks about it all the time. Now I gotta do squirrel. I've also never had frog.
Yeah. And frog is good. And it's fun actually to catch them. There are many different ways, and we're not going to talk about.
Yeah, we don't have to get into that.
Yeah, we're not going to get into that. But
side story.
To just use a little jig, like a twister tail type jig, and you can cast it out in front of a bullfrog and just twitch it, and they go after it. Yeah, they're a lot of fun to catch.
Interesting.
But there are other ways to do that too.
Okay, I've caught them in other ways.
Right. We're not going there. But yeah, they're delicious. They taste like chicken, believe it or not.
Weird. That's what they say about gar too. I don't know. If it tastes like chicken, why don't I just eat chicken?
Well,
be a lot less work.
Gar tastes like chicken?
That's what Nate always says. Huh. He says it's like a really white, meaty.
Yeah.
Like chicken. Well, if it tastes like chicken, why wouldn't I just eat chicken?
Well, I do want to try it.
It's like tofu. They're like, well, it tastes like chicken if you cook it with chicken. I'm like, why wouldn't I just eat the chicken?
Yeah, I'm not gonna. That doesn't make sense. But to eat frog legs.
Okay.
So.
Anyways.
So, your favorite episode. What was your favorite episode the last year? Do you have one or do you have several?
No, I really liked. I'm biased, obviously, because I love my family. But I really like the ones that I got to do with my family. The one with Mesa was fun. The one with Nate was fun, too, especially because Nate got a lot of crap for saying, that's accurate.
Here.
That's accurate.
That's true. I heard him in that one with AJ where he said that's accurate and that's for Greg.
Yep. And then the one with AJ was a lot of fun too. And that one, it was funny because I had to like force him to do it. And then when we got done, he was like, that was fun. We should do another one. And then the one with my mom.
Just a side note, I'm here with a tissue wiping the tears from my eyes because, none of her favorites include me, but that's okay.
No, you were there for the one with Mom.
When we did the foundation?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And she was in a couple other ones.
Yeah.
Just as side guests.
Mm-hmm. No, I'm really not wiping the tears from my eyes. That's my whole plan for this podcast is to turn it completely over to Catherine at some point in time, and
go solo.
I'm going to walk away.
To go solo.
But so now,
yeah, maybe sometime
when
I have more time.
Right now we'll
when I'm
get
retired.
Now we'll get
like
a lot
Greg.
of emails from fans saying, "Do it sooner than later, Greg. Walk away, walk away."
No, everyone
the only
I
reason
talk
we listen
to
is Catherine because we love her.
No. That's an inside joke because I told Greg today that I just think everybody loves me. Like, I just assume everybody loves me because I'm amazing. That sounds awful. I'm really not that self-centered.
Yeah, and then I shared the story with her that I did actually have somebody tell me, Greg, you do realize that not everybody loves you, right? So it sometimes there's a wake-up call. That was when I was about 20 years old. What about your age?
Yeah, it's okay.
So
I'm such a people pleaser. I don't like it when people don't like me. I just take it to heart. So,
well,
oh no, everyone I've talked to has always said that like we balance each other out really well.
We
like
do.
I talk too loud and too fast, and you talk really nice and slow. And you think about everything you're gonna say, and I just say things.
Right. Sometimes it's like walking around with a broom and dustpan trying to clean up the mess after you go through. No, that's not. I've had people tell me that too, though, that they like listening to the two different sides of the continuum. The young woman that has much more experience in hunting, and the old guy that just kind of is there.
Just kind of there.
He's
just kind of talks.
That's right. Any other favorites that you have? Because mine. Now that I am about ready to say this, one of my favorites. I'm not even on.
You're not even in it.
I'm not even in it. That's the. But probably one of my favorites is it's the proud papa and proud steppapa moment of when you and Trey.
Oh, when we just talked on the phone.
Kinzer Madison.
Oh, that one was good.
You did that at Pheasant Fest, and I just
like
walked away and said, "You guys have got it." And when I started crying when I listened to it.
Aww.
It was. Then I had to laugh too. It's like, I've never done this before. How does Greg end?
I was like, what do I do to end it? I was like, that's always on Greg. And Trey was like, I don't know, just say bye. Sounds good. No, that one was fun though too, because a lot of the people we've interviewed have been like older, which I'm not saying old for anyone that I've interviewed.
This is a moment where I'm about ready to clean up the mess.
No. But as Greg says, is like, he's the one that finds a lot of the people that we interview. And so it's people that like he would choose to talk to.
Right.
Which I've really enjoyed all of them, but they're not like my age. And so the one with Kinzer, he was younger. He was, I don't know, 20 some.
Mm-hmm.
And so Trey and I were just able to connect really well.
No, and like I said, that probably is my absolute favorite. But right up there, interviewing Pat and Carol Kaiser, friends of your family, and hearing the stories of them, and then being able to meet them here earlier this month at AJ and Mackenzie's wedding, and just great people. They always, on a sidebar, that they always say that you should never, plan to go to a wedding or a funeral to visit, and that's kind of how I felt with Pat and Carol being here. Never really had time to really get time just to sit down and visit and talk, and I hope that comes soon. Obviously, the Bob St. Pierre, that was one of my favorites, just because I listened to him for years on Fan Outdoors. Patrick Durkin, also from Wisconsin, and he talked about his daughter Leah and hunting partners and things like that. I like to listen to storytellers.
Yeah, after you said Pat Durkin, Doug Duran was a Pat. Durkin and
Patrick Durkin.
And Doug Durin. Those are really close. No, that one was a good one too, because he's just such a good storyteller.
Right.
Like, I felt like we were just sitting around dinner sharing stories.
Right. We were kind of.
Well, yeah, except I didn't have any snacks.
And back, and then back to Pheasant Fest. We talked about that in one of the podcasts we did with Doug. The serendipity of, his booth was right across from us.
right next to
and
each
being
other.
able to in the lulls we were able to visit and those kinds of things. So we've been fortunate to meet some. Sometimes not in person, but we've been fortunate to meet some very interesting people that have done some very important things for the lives of other people. Like the veteran services and those that organize the veteran fishing trips and hunting trips and those kinds of things. Just a few weeks ago, the PDR Youth Hunt interview. That I really hope that we're able to get up there in some way, shape, or form that weekend, just to meet people, meet the participants, and meet the families. So what about some of the obstacles that we've run into? I've got some that I'm sure that you probably maybe we share a similar obstacle, but one of the things, and we've kind of alluded to it, is kind of our artistic, so to speak, differences in terms of how we want to. Catherine wants to just turn on the mics and talk.
I just want to talk and tell stories and not prepare.
And not for very long. But,
I can talk for like 45 minutes if you give me a microphone.
But obstacles, learning curves.
I think the big thing for me was just like the time commitment. Like, you don't realize how busy you are until you start trying to add other things.
Right.
And so, like, obviously there's been a couple where Greg's not in them because we were doing other things. There's a couple that I think there's more that I'm not in just because I was working or at school or something like that. But that, and then editing, I don't like editing, which Greg does most of them now.
Well, that was a learning curve. I used to do a lot of multimedia things when I was teaching, but as I got into administration, I moved away from that type of thing. So I just had to sit down and teach myself again how to do some of those things. But it's what you just said is probably something. Well, that's probably why that statistic is that way.
Right.
That there's
People
just not
start
that
it. And then
they think it's a great thing. They like listening to them, which was our case too. We liked listening to them, but the time commitment to set up the interviews. We don't do things live, so we have to go through the editing process. And that is a time commitment. And I'm retired, and I still have trouble trying to find the time to get the things done to make sure that we publish on Thursday.
Which, guys, I just want to say, Greg always says that he's going to hand this down to me. He does like probably 80% of the legwork. Like, he is editing most of the podcasts. He's setting up most of the interviews. I think there's like one or two that with the ones with my family, pretty much. He's setting them up. He's scheduling most of the podcasts to actually be posted. Like, I just kind of show up, talk, and then make social media posts.
Well, you're the star. See, that's how that works.
Yeah.
When everybody loves you, that's what you do. You just kind of show up, okay, okay, action, and then you go. So
yeah, he's being like totally, what's the word? Where you're like, oh, I didn't do that much.
Well, I will say that the first few episodes that we recorded, you pretty much did everything. And I did feel very guilty at that point in time. It's like, I'm kind of scared. It's kind of like when you don't unload the dishwasher, which, by the way, are they unloaded today? Okay.
No, they aren't.
I kind of feel bad.
I saw the dishwasher open this morning, and I think Mom shut it.
Okay, well, I think your mom opened it. I didn't do that. I try not to do that anymore. But that passive-aggressive reminder for Catherine to empty the dishwasher every morning.
I haven't even been here for 3 days, and yet I still have to unload everyone else's dishes.
There's a little bit that I can relate to that. So, but anyway, so that's definitely a squirrel moment there. But anyway, but there are a lot of things that go on, and like I just said, I think that's probably why those statistics are that way. And if you don't have the time, and if there's anybody out there that wants to sponsor our podcast, we would entertain those kinds of things, but we don't have any sponsors. It's it's called Unbroken Arrows, Healing Through the Hunt. And I've said several times that my realization for me is doing this is the hunt for healing. It's kind of the opposite of what the title says, but I think that's, again, I can't speak for you, but I think it's what's happening. It's what's our objective was to tell the stories of other people and how the outdoors have helped them. And I think doing the podcast has helped us as well. Mm-hmm. It hasn't been easy. Mm-hmm. I mean, there have been times where we're talking to people that I know that brings back memories and thoughts and things like that of those that we miss. But we also are making more stories, more memories, those kinds of things too. So, but what are you looking forward to in season 2?
Well, we're coming up on hunting season.
That's
so
true.
There's going to be lots of hunting stories talking about things that I probably messed up. Nate getting mad because I'm not being quiet.
Were you sleeping when?
We're going to have some fun stories, I'm sure, to share. But then also, like, just, I don't know, like starting fresh again. Mm-hmm. Like, we've got all of the stuff that we already posted, but being able to be like, all right, well, this is just like we can change things. We've talked about doing a video, so
right.
Maybe stay tuned for that in the future.
Right. And I don't know if I told you that, but I did get things posted to YouTube that all you have to do now is to upload. So that's another source that people can find our podcast. One of the things that I think is interesting is we haven't gone at each other's throats. I mean, we haven't gotten mad at each other. The only, opening night of the Olympics, Catherine yelled at me, but I stomped off and slammed the door going into the bedroom. So, yeah, we did have one. I
feel like that's like normal, though, if you live with someone long enough.
Eventually, you're going to have
somebody was being kind of crappy.
Yeah. Yeah.
I didn't.
I wasn't having a day or a week. I think that was a month. I was just having a tough time. But yeah. So, but I apologized.
Again, you did. So did I.
Yes, you did. Yes.
That's back to I'm a people pleaser. So when people are mad, then I just like freak out and get upset.
Yeah.
I just want everyone to love me and be happy all the time. Unicorns and rainbows.
Well, we made it this far. How's that? They don't they don't say anything in the statistics about do podcast co-hosts have breakups and go solo. So,
they do. Yeah. If you look at any social media, it's like everyone ends up going solo.
That speaking of which, that's something that you do 100% is the social media side of things, because that's
like mom posts to Facebook now, though, but that's because I just don't understand how Facebook works.
Well, yeah, and she's, no offense, folks, but Catherine sometimes is very timely, and sometimes Catherine kind of procrastinates or forgets or things, but Stephanie doesn't. She'll get the Facebook post done on Thursday morning.
She's type A. I'm like type
Z.
Yeah.
Get it?
That was funny.
That's a dad joke.
That was good.
The other thing that we announced a few weeks ago was the Unbroken and Brave Foundation, which was the repurposing. I need to come up with a different word, I think, but expanding the Rebecca's Legacy Foundation, and kind of renaming it and kind of tweaking the mission a little bit. But hey, there's going to be a fundraising activity. We're in the works. I'm not going to say anything more about that.
Stay tuned, folks.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a teaser, but that'll be coming
excited.
up. Yeah, but the podcast, we do want to have people think of the podcast and the foundation maybe in the same line of thinking, because we do want to use the podcast as a platform to promote the foundation's mission, and we're just looking forward to that.
That would be fun.
Yeah, that's
I'm excited.
It's another chapter of our lives. Yeah,
fill my time.
Yeah, and you do have a lot on your plate. So,
gosh, to be retired.
I've said this before. I don't know if I've said it on the podcast.
You did your time.
But
you did your time.
I have. But my dad, when he retired, it wasn't, in the year into his retirement, he said, I do not know how I did all the things I did when I was working full time, because I'm busier now than I was when I was working. I thought that was just the most ridiculous comment I've ever heard, but it's true.
No, I get it.
It's true. It's just,
you guys are always gone doing stuff.
Well, and, as families continue to grow, and now you've got a sister-in-law, you've got your family's growing as well, and 9 grandchildren for me on my side, and those things just keep growing, and that's the way it's supposed to be. So anyway, as we approach September, you have some trips planned as far as hunting. What's the first one on the docket?
Well, obviously dove hunting. Dove opens
Sunday.
September 1st, this Sunday.
That'll be the day after Nebraska's first victory on the football field.
You wish.
Ooh.
I joke, but I really don't care.
Unbroken Arrows.
Whoa.
That's me.
Talk about a silenced. Anyone else just jump a little bit because that's the alarm that goes off in the morning?
I've got ribs on the Traeger for Mesa's birthday meal, and that was my reminder to go out and.
Do we need to pause it?
Yeah, we might need to.
All right, hit pause.
Okay, we're back. The ribs are wrapped in aluminum foil and back on the grill. I'm using the 3-2-1 method. 3 hours on the grill at 225. Then take them off, wrap them in aluminum foil and some liquid. Then put them back on the grill for 2 hours and take them off. And then if you want to sauce them, you sauce them and put them back on the grill for 1 more hour. So I want to do that.
Are you going to sauce them?
I can't.
Oh, right, because it's Mesa.
So
Mesa's got dietary restrictions we have to follow.
So we're going to have sauce on the side.
Makes sense. Still will taste delicious.
Well, they look pretty good.
Almost as good as my dove that I'm going to shoot.
That's right.
Look at that transition.
There's a transition.
That was a good transition.
But I was going to transition into, I want to try this with deer ribs. So
Nate and I just had some of his muley from last year. He made it into chislic, and he said something. This was such a blonde moment. Like, you could tell that my roots were blonde. He goes, yeah, it seems like it tastes sweeter than in East River. I was like, yeah, it almost tastes like Worcestershire sauce, or however you say it. And he goes, well, I did soak them in that. I was like, oh, that makes way more sense. Because I've never put it on my chislic before, so I didn't know that he was going to do that.
I think the last chislic that I made,
I think you did actually. Yeah, now that you say that,
because Nate was here.
Yeah,
and he said that's what he did.
Yeah.
So I said, hey,
I do remember that now.
So yeah,
I was like, yeah, it almost tastes like Worcestershire sauce, however you say it.
Worcestershire. What's so? In other words, listeners, mule deer from the West River in South Dakota don't just happen to taste like Worcestershire sauce.
No, they don't.
So,
But I thought it was pretty good.
yeah, well, good.
I think I would have been able to tell that it wasn't an East River deer, but it wasn't. Like, I've always heard that it's not good, and I didn't think it was bad.
I've always heard that if you prepare it, a whitetail and a mule deer in the same fashion, you really can't tell the
Can't tell the
difference.
difference.
That's what I've heard. So I don't know. I don't know if I've ever had mule deer. So, but anyway, I want to try this with deer ribs sometime. So
Deer ribs.
yes.
Is there enough meat there?
Well, any
Or-
rib really doesn't have a whole lot of meat because, again, from what I've heard, if you prepare it similar to what you do with these are actually St. Louis, I think, pork ribs, so baby back or whatever ribs. They're similar, so we'll see.
I saw
Of course, I
someone.
have to get a deer first, or somebody else has to get a deer, and we have to clean it.
There's this girl I follow on Instagram, and she's from Alaska. Her name's like Tana, Tana. But she like shoots moose and caribou and all the things, and she had moose ribs in a crock pot, and then like just peeled all the meat off. And I was like, I wonder. I've never had moose. It's like I wonder how moose tastes. It's on the bucket list.
Got it in on any moose, but I've had bear once, and I don't know if I'd like to try it again to see if
Mom had a bear. I don't know what is happening.
I keep hitting
Oh. I was like, what is all of these
in
noises?
the Unbroken Arrows studio, aka
Catherine's bedroom.
I'm just hitting the desk drawer handle, and it's making a ticking noise.
Side story, Mom comes in the other day and she's like, oh, my grandma had a desk just like that when I was little. And I was like, Mom, we got this from Grandma. Like, this is your grandma's. Like, also my grandma. So her
Right.
grandma's and then my grandma's. And she's like, no, she's like, it had a double drawer in this bottom right. And she opens it and it's a double drawer. I was like, I'm telling you this. We got it from Grandma. We just painted it. She was like, oh. But what I was going to say is that I've had bear, Mom's bear, and we always really liked it. But there's always that like article that circles around each year that it's like people are getting worms from bear meat.
Well, that happens. I think on Meat Eater they talk about that because I think that's what Stephen Ranella, that was his experience. He was
He got
sick
worms,
and
parasites.
well, yeah, and I can't remember. I don't know if it's trichina or not. I shouldn't even say what it is. I can't remember what parasitic worm insists in bear meat. But the time I had it, it was, you know how sometimes when you see something, it was done in a crock pot and it was real fatty on the top. Now, bear grease supposedly is a cure for everything. But in the top of a crock pot, it
it'll
just
cure those worms that you'll get from
the meat.
digesting it.
But just the look of it. So I'd like to try it again, but that's been several years ago too. So
I'm pretty sure I just had a bear brat the other day at one of my friends. I think she said it was bear. Because they go to Canada. They've gone to Canada the last like 4 years and have shot bears. Maybe I'm imagining that.
If it's a bratwurst, though, it's got to be good.
I've had like rattlesnake brats.
Yeah.
It was rattlesnake and kangaroo and alligator. And you can't tell the difference.
And I've had rattlesnake just as is, and believe it or not, guess what it tastes like?
Chicken.
But it has the
Why wouldn't I
consistency
just eat
of
chicken?
it has the consistency of shrimp.
Fish. Oh, shrimp.
Shrimp. It's got that crunch to it.
Interesting.
So,
I only like shrimp if it's cooked, though.
well, I didn't eat rattlesnake raw.
Well, I know, but does raw shrimp and like cooked shrimp have the same?
Yeah, it's
Texture.
firm, kind of a crunch when you.
I don't like raw shrimp. Cold shrimp. I guess I don't know if it's raw. Is cold shrimp cooked?
No, that's pre-cooked.
It is pretty
Yeah,
good.
yeah, it's not.
I don't like cold shrimp though. It's got to be like fried in butter.
Sauteed it. Okay,
I think it's just a technique.
we're getting
Okay.
way off base here because we're talking about food and I'm getting hungry and those ribs are still 3 hours from being done. So
Anyways.
yeah. So anyway, I don't know. I do have a archery tag, so I could start deer hunting Sunday, but I just don't know if I'm going to have time. This podcast takes so much time. I just don't know how much. No, just kidding about that.
You got to do it early in the morning before we even start podcasts.
That's true. That's true. But anyway, I do have a place to hunt, and maybe I'll try to get that. Your mom has a knee replacement surgery scheduled at the end of the month, so my hunting time, I guess, is going to be just this month. So. But you said dove hunting, so, and I'm going to go squirrel hunting for sure. But you do have an antelope hunt coming up.
Which has slowly turned into also. So the original plan, neither Nate and I have ever hunted antelope. So like we were going to go out here, we were going to target antelope, and then if we happened to see a deer or two that we wanted to try to shoot, we like would put a stock on them. And then the rancher texted me a picture of like I don't know. I can't judge muleys, but other people have told me like 170-inch muley.
It was a nice looking
and
buck.
now I'm like, well, we might be mule deer hunting and maybe shooting an antelope if we come past it. So it kind of depends on what happens if they keep seeing that deer, what the weather's like. But it'll be antelope/deer hunt.
Okay. Now, question for you then. Nate, you or Nate have not been antelope hunting before.
No.
So what are you doing to get, versed
Prepared.
in? Yeah.
I've talked to a lot of people, especially just people at Shields, because there's a lot of guys there that antelope hunt a lot.
Do you do the YouTube thing at all?
Nate loves YouTube. Nate watches YouTube. He figures all of that out. I'm not gonna lie, I get bored. I'm just not a big TV person in general. Like we've got seriously.
The look I'm making. Let's watch.
Seriously.
Let's watch.
Well, that's like we watch our Longmire.
Yeah.
And then Nate and I watch Hawaii 5-0. And then there's like a couple other random series that I watch. But like in general,
right.
like
You
I
don't
just
sit down to
don't
watch TV like I do.
Even like I wouldn't rarely ever watch movies if it weren't for Nate, because Nate's always like, oh, like let's watch this movie. There's been like one or two in the last year that I was like, oh, I want to watch this.
You are your mother's daughter.
Yeah. I've got like the same 3 movies that if I'm in a mood for a movie, I'm gonna watch that.
Watch the same one over again.
It's because it's like my comfort movie.
Yeah. No.
But I've watched a couple of videos. Mostly I just like talking to people though, because I feel like you get a better experience. And coming from a position where like I've posted videos, you don't get the full story. And it's hard to see like what they did in the background before it led to that.
Right. But with antelope, it's so open, right? I mean,
right.
It's so open. And
that's big thing they told us is bring a decoy. So
right.
We're going to bring a decoy. It's also, they should be rutting around the time that we're out there. So that should help. And then the one guy is just like, you just got to start shooting at them because you're going to miss a couple. Oh. And he's like, it's going to be 60, 70, 80 yards. Like, you can't be afraid to just shoot. And I was like, okay. And he's like, you'll miss a lot. Especially, not necessarily that it's like you're making a bad shot, but
right.
by the time that your arrow gets there, they're going to be gone.
Right. And by the way, this is archery hunting.
Yes,
it's
we're
not,
archery hunting.
Which is a huge difference between a high-powered rifle hunting antelope
right.
and, anything, whether it's deer or antelope or anything, yeah.
Mm-hmm. But the other thing we want to try is depending on weather. If it's cool, it won't really work. But if it's still really hot out, just sitting by water, because they got to come to water at some point. You probably will have better shots there too. Closer shots anyways.
One of the things that I've seen on a video or two that I've seen with antelope hunting, but I've never had the interest, but a white flag.
Yeah. The white flag method.
Yeah. It'll draw their attention.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing that I've heard more than once is, you don't want to have them run. So if
it'll ruin the
the
meat.
meat, the taste is a lot different.
Yeah. No, I have heard that too. I was actually talking to a guy that is guiding antelope this year, and he's hunted them forever, and this is his first year guiding, and he was like, I'd recommend fixed blades for broadheads because you're probably going to be shooting through grass. And then he was like, make sure you can shoot out to 80 yards. And then a decoy. He's like, those 3 things are going to help you out a lot.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting are you going to document this on your
That's
GoPro and the camera
goal.
and then maybe share with maybe that'll be the first YouTube video posted on our site?
Yeah. That's the goal. I always end up getting too excited and forgetting. That's so like Nate's deer. I recorded a bunch leading up to it, and then I like completely missed the whole shot and like the whole stock up to it. And I was like, well, this is pointless now. Like, you guys don't want to just watch us talk about what happened. That's even like Nate's elk. I recorded pretty much everything except for the shot because I got excited and forgot. So that one is posted on my YouTube.
Right.
Well,
that's also on our website, I think.
I think it is.
Yeah.
Problem though is I have to do all of the recording. So if I'm shooting, like, there's not going to be any video of that because Nate doesn't use a camera.
Well, set it up and have it,
Just be like, hold this.
Yeah.
Just point it in my general direction.
That might work.
But again, kind of unrelated. Got a new camera. I want it. And so Nate now is like, well, now I can use your old camera to film my hunts. I was like, you don't film anyways. Like, even when I have a camera for you to use, like,
why don't you
prove to
start
me
by
that you'll
filming my
use it.
hunts? And
prove to me that you'll use it before I just give it to you.
Yeah, that sounds like a typical male spoken by. I'm saying that. Catherine's not saying that. I am. So, in our production notes here, you've got rattlesnakes. So I'm just,
I forgot about that. I'm terrified.
Terrified, and this is rattlesnake season in that part of the country.
Yep. And if it is a little bit colder, that can sometimes be a problem because they won't rattle because they're more lethargic. Mm-hmm. Where, like, if it's hot, they'll give you a little, like, heads up. Where if it's colder, they're not going to waste their energy on rattling. They'll just bite you.
So do you have a snake bite kit with you?
Nope. I should maybe get one of those.
Maybe you should get one.
Yeah, because we're going to be kind of out in the middle of nowhere.
No,
we didn't see any last year, though, that we were out there. Granted, it was later. But.
Yeah. The someone I taught with out in Ogallala, their daughter, they were out gardening, and she got she got bit by a rattlesnake, and as she was telling me the story, they were at the hospital in Denver, and the doctor was telling them this, that, and the other, and everything sounded great and everything, and then it just took like a 180-degree turn. And if this doesn't change by 8:00 tonight, then we'll proceed to amputate her leg. And she said that just totally caught her off guard. Mm-hmm. But it's a pretty serious thing. So
well, there's different types of rattlesnakes too, which I've been told that, like, you need to get the specific antivenom for the specific rattlesnake. So I'm like, I'm just going to kill the thing and bring it with me.
Well,
like, this is the one, fix me.
Well, but the thing is that, like, say if you would get a kit, maybe you purchase it in Rapid City, they would have what is most likely going to be
the most common
but
one. If you get the wrong one, like, it can make it even worse.
Yeah. And again, I'm no doctor. I don't know. Maybe that's something that's fairly passé, but I've always, you hear the stories of people that get to a hospital and they don't have the antivenom, and it has to get flown in or something like that. But you would think that places where there's fairly good rattlesnake density, they would have that. Mm-hmm. I would like to think. So
yeah, it's kind of crazy. I just don't like snakes in general. Like, if you threw a gardener snake at me, I'd freak out, even though it can't do anything.
Right.
But everyone I talk to is like, you'll run into a couple, but it's not like you're going to be walking over them constantly.
Mm-hmm.
So I think I'm making it a little bit over
You're
dramatized.
you're being dramatic, but you need to be careful.
Yes.
That's the most important thing. We can come back to this. I don't want to forget about this, but one of the things that I wanted to request from people that are listening, please take a minute or two and send us an email, unbrokenarrowspodcast.com. Please tell us, share with us maybe some of the things. You've got 37 episodes plus 12 bonus episodes now to choose from. Tell us what your favorites are. Tell us what things we can do better. We know that we have sometimes some audio issues, especially when we have call-ins. It's cell phones are kind of difficult sometimes. And if somebody only has access to speakerphone or like a headset, sometimes that's even makes it worse. But not too many people have landlines anymore. Those things work great. But so if there's anything that you'd like to have us focus on, I would like to learn those kinds of things. We talked about doing more like with cooking, because one of the things that we encourage people to do is get outside, and enjoy the outdoors. But part of that is enjoying, if you're hunting or fishing, enjoying the catch.
Could be like a Greg teaches Catherine how to cook.
Well, you're doing more here lately than you were when I first met you. Yeah,
doing better.
Not that it was a wild game, but that chicken basil sandwich that you made, that was pretty good. And we could probably make that with turkey breast. We could probably do that. Wild turkey breast. We do have quite a bit of game, and we do need to eat it up prior to you going out and harvesting more. So your grandpa and I made a bunch of sausage, breakfast sausage, and an Italian sausage with the deer. And I tell you, that's good stuff too. So Chislick.
We should do burgers too. We had deer burgers with Nate's family a couple of weeks ago, and those were really good. They like mixed cheese in with them and a little bit of bacon. And
well, it'd be easy to do with the equipment that your grandpa has. We just wouldn't have to put the sausage seasoning in there. Yeah, we can do that. A little bit of beef, a little bit of pork fat, a lot of deer, and then we'll go from there. But anyway, we'd love to hear from listeners. If there's something that you'd like us to work on in terms of interview information, we would gladly do that. We are still, even though this is our first season and we've done what we've done, I think we're still beginners. We're novice, and we're always trying to improve, so we'll continue to do that. Otherwise, anything else? Otherwise, congratulations, Catherine. We've made it through. We made it through one season. For what?
I was like, what'd I do?
We made it through one season, and we beat the odds according to the statistics.
Yep.
And I can't speak for you, but I'm still having fun doing it. So
most of the time.
Most of the time. The glazed look in her eyes sometimes tells it all.
Just goes over my head sometimes.
Did you ever get Sand County Almanac finished?
Not finished,
Not
no.
finished.
But I have been enjoying reading it and doing my little highlighters and taking notes. But it is not finished yet. I'm about halfway.
I'm kind of giving you a hard time about that because
it's been a very slow read.
You are a busy girl. You do a lot. So let's see. Season 1 is over.
Yeah, thanks to everyone for listening.
Yeah, thank you. Season 2, I'm not sure where it's going to be, if it's going to be the first episode, but one of our interviews from Pheasant Fest was with an author by the name of Tony Jones. And the book that he wrote came out in April, I think it was, The God of Wild Places. And
Did you finish that one, by the way?
yes, I did.
Because I liked that one too, and
Yes,
you want to give it to me.
I'm using it to get prepared for the interview that's going to
Perfect.
be here later this week with him. Yep.
Anyways, another tangent. Wow.
we're
It's just ADHD today.
It is, but well, I know I've got 18 minutes and 34 seconds until I need to go flip the ribs, and I guess we should sign off. So thank you, as Catherine said, thank you to everyone that has listened, and we are looking forward to continuing our podcast, and we hope that you find enjoyment in it, and I hope that we can continue to bring you information and stories about other people that can inspire you. We also hope that in some way, shape, or form that we help inspire you get outside and enjoy the outdoors, because bottom line is, whether it's pickleball, whether it's hiking, whether it's anything that you do, just going out for a walk. Doesn't have to be hunting, fishing, but if you're always thinking, you have always thought that maybe you'd want to try it, there are places that you can go out and learn about it. Outdoor campus, we've had several people through the outdoor campus, and they've got, if you want to hunt turkey, if you want to fish, if you want to fly fish, if you want to learn how to tie flies, here's my goal for season 2. At some point in time, I want to have a foraging episode, looking for mushrooms and looking for those kinds of things where,
You gotta do that in the spring when they've got morels.
Well, that's also my favorite mushroom, though, is the box elder mushroom, and that's a fall mushroom.
Yeah, which apparently I have box elder trees.
Yes.
I don't know if that's what they're called, but
Yes, that's what they grow on. So,
sure, they're nice and fertilized with all the cow poop right now.
well, that's the circle of life. So, okay. Thank you, everyone, for listening.
Thank you, guys.
And we will
catch you next time.
Catch you next season. Sound good?
Awesome.
Okay. Well, thank you, Catherine. You're welcome, Greg.
I didn't know if we were ending on that. You're welcome, Greg. Thank you.
Hey, you bet.
Thanks for being a great podcast host.
Okay. Co-host.
Co-host.
We're co-hosts.
All right. Just hit the end button.
Not yet. Not yet. So as we end season 1, as we end our podcast each and every week, if you or someone you know is thinking of suicide or is in need of crisis intervention, call the Suicide and Crisis Lifeline by dialing 988. And to all of our listeners, take some time to get outside, enjoy the outdoors, and experience its healing powers. With that, on behalf of Catherine and me, until next time.